Because nets can help remove remaining CO2 emissions from the atmosphere in order to limit climate change to below 2 degrees Celsius. Along with the reducing greenhouse gas emissions, they are a crucial tool for mitigating climate change. I'm Chieh-Yu Lee. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Groningen. Together with Professors Goda, Perlaviciute and Linda Steg, I published a paper examining European citizens' perceptions and evaluation of negative emission technologies and practices, or NETs. We wanted to find out how fair people think it is for a country to implement NETs and how it is related to how much they think a country is responsible for causing climate change and how much they think the country is capable of implementing NETs. NETs capture and store carbon underground through natural processes like afforestation and reforestation, known as AR, or chemical processes like the rare air capture and carbon storage, known as DACCS. We surveyed over 5,000 European citizens across 6 countries and asked them to evaluate how fair it is to implement NETs in the country with either high or low CO2 emissions, so to reflect a country's responsibility, and either sufficient or insufficient resources to reflect a country's capacity to implement NETs. Citizens also evaluated their own country's responsibility for causing climate change and capacity to implement NETs, and to what extent they think it is fair that their own country will implement NETs. Responsibility turned out to be the strongest predictor of perceived fairness. People think it is fairer that the countries that emit the most should implement NETs, and to a lesser extent that the country that are most capable of implementing NETs should do so. Implementing NETs in one's own country was considered fairer when respondents recognized that their own country was a larger historical and current emitter with more available land and income. The more people thought their own country emitted CO2 historically and currently, and the more they thought it had income, land, and knowledge to implement NETs, the fairer they thought it was for their country to implement NETs.